Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play The Witness. So I fixed my audio issue, so now we will have live audio again, and I'll actually be able to react to things as they happen. So I kind of wandered around a little bit, and I wasn't quite sure where we should start this episode, but I got a comment that said that viewer in particular felt like exploration and kind of the thought process was a really important part of the game and actually a really interesting part to watch. So I decided to not cut out that portion so we can kind of explore the island together and you can kind of see what it is that I'm looking at and kind of, I don't know, get a more genuine experience and I guess show you more unfiltered what it's like when I'm trying to plan out what I'm gonna do next for the next video and include that more. Hang on, I'm trying to start a timer so I don't have another almost hour-long video. Okay, so I wandered around quite a bit after the recording of the last one. I actually went all the way up to the top of the mountain, which is a really, really pretty climb. And I saw something super interesting. Oh, see, here's something I didn't notice before. There's 2 recorders. Okay, well. Well, this is going to be embarrassing. I'm actually going to turn on closed captions right now because I forgot to do that, and I said I was going to. Okay, so now they're on. So now we'll be able to listen to both of these recordings together and be able to read them.
The glass is transparent, the wine transparent. The two are similar, the affair confused. There seems to be wine and no glass, or glass and no wine. Sahib bin Abad, circa 990.
That seemed like a quote about, if it's transparent, is it really there? Look, it's a question mark. That is hilarious.
We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. Lao Tzu, 6th century BC.
Well, first of all, I like that these are shorter little proverbs. That's interesting. That's more like a space is what we make it, kind of. So like all the rooms in your house. We basically assign meaning to them, but I mean they're really built the same, except for like maybe different outlets or fixtures for water and that kind of thing. But essentially they're all 4 walls and a floor and a roof. The only thing that assigns meaning is us. So I think I am actually, oops, yeah, no, I'm going the right way. I think I am going to climb back up this mountain with you guys because, see, I really want to do this bamboo forest next, actually, but I couldn't figure out where the start was, which is kind of what led me to go up there. Here's that waterfall there. Because I think this is a door that opens up. So this is probably the end. But if we go around this way, ignore that path real quick. Oh, there's another statue. She's looking at that lake that we saw earlier with the different colors. And I think it's interesting, she's got red on her paintbrush. So I think all the colors that are on her palette are the same colors that are in the lake. Not necessarily in that order though. Yeah, not in the same order. But cool. Look around, see if we see any little thing. Might be interesting. That's another path. I mean, it's not a question mark like what we saw in the trees, but it looks like a path for one of those puzzles, right? Well, we don't want to go into that temple thing. That's another castle. I'm getting sidetracked. I had a goal of what I wanted to show you, and that is not what is happening, but that's okay. I actually wanted to show you guys something too, because I actually, a commenter and a conversation I had with Stryker, who's also doing a video series of The Witness, we talked about that sad man that we saw in the village. Anyway, we had a conversation about him, and he's a juggler, and he doesn't have any juggling balls, and I found them. And I wanted to show you that I found them, because I know that that's something that Stryker didn't find, because he told me he couldn't find them. What is this over here? Interesting. Random white stones. But yeah, so I figured since that was something that I noticed that he hadn't, there might be other people that had noticed. Because there's a reason why you can see them in the shadow. Because they're actually right here. These stones are his juggling balls that also got turned into stone and then fell down. So that's what happened. So I'm not sure that he is sad because he can't find his juggling balls. I think he's sad because he's being turned into stone. Case in point, because they also got turned to stone and they fell down. And except maybe they turned into stone first and fell down. And then that's why he was sad. Because they're smaller. They have less mass. Another theory. Oh, what is this? Oh, I know what this is. We looked up at this when we were underneath the windmill. I wonder if this represents a path that we're gonna have to do at some point. You can see that's like a start point. It travels. Oops, didn't mean to do that. To here, I don't know unless this is supposed to be continuing. I don't know, just an idea. Maybe not though, because there's so much of it. Okay. Well, promised you guys that we would go up the mountain. I also want to try this puzzle again at some point because I was rewatching and I think I did something weird that didn't really make sense to me why I was... Because it's supposed to be the actual palm trees. And I think I was just getting confused by like the mass behind it. Nope. Oh well. And then there's that fern that's the same color as the palm trees. Kind of throws me off. I don't know. We'll come back to that. And then something else interesting that I noticed. I don't know if I can get it to happen again. Yeah. There was the sound of a bird, which is like the first sound of like a living thing that I've heard on this island, besides like the recordings. So I thought that was really interesting that I could hear the bird. And I'm curious about these puzzles, but clearly we have not found the starting point to them. And it seems like this has to do with the bamboo forest, but I don't see a starting point anywhere except for, I don't know, maybe we have to do the temple right here to get to the maze thing. Or not the maze. These are interesting trees. To get to the bamboo forest. I'm assuming it's a maze because there's a door out that is closed. Or appears closed. Oh. Well, this is certainly a way in. And, oh, I guess we can't cross those. That's interesting. I want to know where this bird is. If you found the bird and know that it's real, then please let me know. Or maybe you've never heard of, never noticed. I'm kind of half expecting to come across like a stone bird. Oh. Well, now we have that door open. But this is not powered on. Gotta figure out how we power it on. That was funny. I was just like, taking a stroll. Wow. This really is amazing. I'm really curious, like that mechanical humming. Huh. I don't know what's causing that. Where's the other part of that cord? It's really like not visible through all this. Because it disappears, like literally. I don't see it on the other side of these. Which means maybe it's down below. I don't know. I don't hear the birdie anymore. Oh, there he is again. Maybe this is the cord. I don't know. Doesn't help that I can't find the other side of it. It would also really help me to know, like, I don't feel like there's really any true dead ends in this, or that I've already fully explored it, because, I mean, I could be going around in a circle, but I don't feel like I am. Yeah, because this is taking us back towards the boxes. Going around in circles! Okay, well, since we have this open now, it's really not a big deal that we keep walking around there. That cord will become useful when we need it to. And now, to get up to where I wanted to go to show you guys, I think we had to go past this robot guy in the, like, color lab. And we're climbing. And there's this, which is really sketchy. Tree. It's providing itself as a bridge. Thank you, tree. And this is, there's that tall lady pointing, or standing on her head. See that she's made out of cement because she's got rebar sticking out of her arm. These are two different colors. Well, I think we'll be able to solve this, but I don't really want to do that right now. I want to finish climbing up there so I can show you all the statues and stuff up there. I mean, this is really like end game. I mean, obviously it's not all solved. It's starting to get snowy. So there's this. There's a photographer. Or maybe she's not. Actually, she's like those construction workers with a laser level, maybe? On the recording.
Up there, you go around every hour and a half, time after time after time. You wake up usually in the mornings, and just the way that the track of your orbits go, you wake up over the Mideast, over North Africa. As you eat breakfast, you look out the window as you're going past, and there's the Mediterranean area, and Greece, and Rome, and North Africa, and the Sinai, the whole area. And you realize that in one glance, that what you're seeing is what was the whole history of man for years, the cradle of civilization. And you go around down across North Africa and out over the Indian Ocean and look up at that great subcontinent of India pointed down toward you as you go past it. And Ceylon off to the side, Burma, Southeast Asia, out over the Philippines, and up across that monstrous Pacific Ocean. Vast body of water. You've never realized how big that is before. And you finally come up across the coast of California and look for those friendly things. Los Angeles and Phoenix and on across El Paso. And there's Houston. There's home. And you look, and sure enough, there's the Astrodome. And you identify with that, you know? It's an attachment. And down across New Orleans, and then looking down to the south, and there's the whole peninsula of Florida laid out. And all the hundreds of hours you spent flying across that route, down in the atmosphere, all that is friendly again. And you go out across the Atlantic Ocean and back across Africa. And you do it again and again and again. And that identity, that you identify with Houston, and then you identify with Los Angeles, and Phoenix, and New Orleans, and everything. And the next thing you recognize in yourself is you're identifying with North Africa. You look forward to that. You anticipate it. And there it is. That whole process begins to shift of what it is you identify with. When you go around it in an hour and a half, you begin to recognize that your identity is with that whole thing. And that makes a change. You look down there, and you can't imagine how many borders and boundaries you crossed again and again and again. And you don't even see them. At that wake-up scene, the Mid-East, you know there are hundreds of people killing each other over some imaginary line that you can't see. From where you see it, the thing is a whole, and it's so beautiful. And you wish you could take one from each side in hand and say, look at it from this perspective. Look at that. What's important? And so a little later on, your friend, again those same neighbors, another astronaut, the person next to you goes out to the moon. And now he looks back and sees the Earth not as something big where he can see the beautiful details, but he sees the Earth as a small thing out there. And now that contrast between that bright blue and white Christmas tree ornament and that black sky, that infinite universe, really comes through. The size of it, the significance of it, it becomes both things. It becomes so small and so fragile, and such a precious little spot in that universe that you can block it out with your thumb. And you realize that on that small spot, that little blue and white thing is everything that means anything to you. All of history and music and poetry and art and war and death and birth and love, tears, joy, games, all of it is on that little spot out there that you can cover with your thumb. And you realize that that perspective, that you've changed, that there's something new there. That relationship is no longer what it was. And then you look back on the time when you were outside on that EVA and those few moments that you had the time because the camera malfunctioned, that you had the time to think about what was happening. And you recall staring out there at the spectacle that went before your eyes. Because now, you're no longer inside something with a window looking out at a picture. But now you're out there. And what you've got around your head is a goldfish bowl, and there are no limits here. There are no frames. There are no boundaries. You're really out there, over it, floating, going 25,000 miles per hour, ripping through space, a vacuum, and there's not a sound. There's a silence, the depth of which you've never experienced before. And that silence contrasts so markedly with the scenery and the speed with which you know you're going. That contrast, the mix of those two things, really comes through. And you think about what you're experiencing and why. Do you deserve this? This fantastic experience? Have you earned this in some way? Are you separated out to be touched by God to have some special experience here that other men cannot have? You know the answer to that is no. There's nothing that you've done that deserves that earned that. It's not a special thing for you. You know very well at that moment, and it comes through to you so powerfully that you're the sensing element for man. You look down and see the surface of that globe that you've lived on all this time, and you know all those people down there. They are like you. They are you. And somehow you represent them when you are up there. A sensing element, that point out on the end, and that's a humbling feeling. It's a feeling that says you have a responsibility. It's not for yourself. The eye that doesn't see does not do justice to the body. That's why it's there. That's why you're out there. And somehow you recognize that you're a piece of this total life. You're out on that forefront and you have to bring that back somehow. And that becomes a rather special responsibility. It tells you something about your relationship with this thing we call life. And when you come back, there's a difference in that world now. There's a difference in that relationship between you and that planet, and you and all those other forms of life on that planet, because you've had that kind of experience. It's a difference, and it's so precious. And all through this, I've used the word you because it's not me. It's not Dave Scott. It's not Dick Gordon, Pete Conrad, John Glenn. It's you. It's us. It's we. It's life. It's had that experience. And it's not just my problem to integrate. It's not my challenge to integrate, my joy to integrate. It's yours. It's everybody's. Russell Schweikart, 1975.
Well, that was a long one. Talking about space. How insignificant we are, I guess, in the greater scheme of things, and how we identify with things around us. So, I noticed a couple things. I don't know if you noticed too while I was kind of looking around. So, we've got 2 lasers touching in the middle up there. We've got 2 little locks, I guess, undone on this. So this is going to be our final box. Once we do all the other ones, I assume they're going to open up. Eventually we're probably going to have to readjust some of the lasers somehow so that they reach here. And there's an interesting combination of people. I don't know if he's like trying to knock this down. Seems weird that if he would be trying to do that while there's this other person just laying up here. I'm not sure if that's like something, I don't know. Looks kind of like a scarf or a towel, but I think it's just like a really weird shaped icicle coming off of his hand. And there's this one flower, and this lady over here with a chisel, probably looking at what's happening over here. These 2 are arguing. He's backing up somewhere where he shouldn't be backing up. Curious what kind of book he's holding. And this guy, which I'm not sure like what he's doing, because it almost seems like he's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but just like the way he's sitting, maybe he's asleep. That makes more sense, because he's just like, his tie's over his shoulder. He's got one leg propped up, but he's just like lolled off. I don't think his eyes are actually, but maybe they are. He just seems like he's either really sad or he's really out of it. He's not really holding his chisel in a way that makes sense, especially when you're like on a laptop. I don't know why you'd have a chisel and be on a laptop and be like sitting over here. I don't know. And then there's this thing. Well, there's this guy. And then this guy. I first thought he was just like talking to all these people, but I think he might actually be interacting directly with this person, because they're looking back at each other. I'm not sure. I don't think this is an actual. I guess. Huh. I didn't think that was actually going to do anything, but it did, and who knows what that. Oh, it's the river. That's cool. I didn't notice that until right now. So that's the river, and then, because I was thinking it was almost the same shape that we saw in the tree line, but not. But yeah, that's definitely that. That's cool. Okay, well, I think we're gonna go down to that bunker door that I think I'll be able to open up, hopefully. And then we'll call it an episode. So we had an episode mostly of just exploring, so I hope that was a nice little change of pace. I really like exploring this island. I'm excited that there's definitely more that I haven't seen yet. Now maybe we'll reveal some secrets going down here. So I'll see you guys next time on the next Let's Play with Pony.